very excited to be here. And tonight is card night. And card night and kind of just our like little meet and greet, and we can chat and have a good time. And some of you might be fussy cutting or doing some of your prep now, whatever you want to do. Totally works for me. So it's just kind of a play with some inks and make a couple of fun little things with a stamp and stencil set. That as I'm saying that, I think I have to walk on the other side of my desk and grab my stamps. I grabbed my stencils and forgot the stamps. So how are we doing? Hello from all over the world. I'm sure we have lots of different friends here. Hi, Paula. Hi, Carrie. How are you? Laura, Pam. I see Natalie is here. Hello, friends. Hi, Glenda. How are you? So welcome. This is the live portion of the card making class. If you're watching after the fact, welcome as well. I hope you enjoy this. This is how we're going to kickstart the print shop weekend. We've got together a few times already. We've done some prep. We did a meet and greet where we did the very beloved waterfall flap little technique. Some of you were saying, if I don't want to do that, is it okay? Or if it's not done yet, will it matter? No, I'll give you other options when we start doing the album prep tomorrow. Whatever you want to do. You know, I like to up the game every single time we do this and try to make it a better experience. So whatever works for you will work for me as well. So, you know, this should be fun. And if you're not having a good time, we really need to fix that, right? So hello. How's everyone doing? Tonight, we are going to do a little bit of inking. I only am using 2 colors of oxide ink, but you can use anything that you want tonight because there's not really any pattern paper or anything on this one. So you are welcome to use whatever your heart desires, right? And it's some fun. We're going to learn a few fun techniques that you can then use for your scrapbook pages. And maybe it'll be fun to take one of the techniques, like maybe the stencil stamping, and we can do it on our bonus layout. So we can talk and we'll know if that's something that sounds fun and if we want to do that. The other thing I'd like to talk to you about are just kind of little tips and tricks for the weekend. First thing is make sure that you have set your settings. If you go down on your screen on YouTube, you will see a gear, and you just want to make sure that's set at 720p or the one just under to make sure the quality of the video is good. The other thing is with technology, if for some reason I lose connection or anything, I will immediately set up a new live with a new link. So the link will be posted in the video I'm in, so that you'll have that just in the description of the YouTube. I'm going to cough, sorry. And we'll also post it in on the Facebook group. So just, it's one of those things, knock on wood, right? It could happen. It's happened to me once before in all of the years of teaching, but I like to let you know that with technology, right, and it doesn't always go perfectly. So just keep that in mind. If you have questions, please put the word question in caps for your questions, because right, with this a community here, and a lot of people will be chatting, just kind of talking amongst themselves, and I might miss your question if it's not formed in the question kind of box. So just do that as well. And if you're new here, welcome, friends. If you've been hanging out with me for a while, welcome back. And question, where is the gear? So take your cursor and just hover over top of the picture, like the screen of where I am, and you'll see a little gear. Hover over that gear, and that's where you can fix the quality issues. The other thing to keep in mind is these are live videos. So if you want to make sure you're watching in time with whatever's happening, you will also see when you hover over the picture that there's the word live, and the red dot needs to be on for you to actually be in sync with what's actually happening. If that dot isn't highlighted with red, it means that you're watching behind. So you might ask a question and we might be 4 steps ahead. So just kind of keep that in mind as well. You can pause the video and just pick up where you left. There again, you won't be watching live, but you can do that. Am I live right now? I am 100% live right now, Renee. So somebody maybe can type, just refresh your page at the top when you look at the box that says YouTube in it. There is like on mine, I'm a Mac user, so I don't know what it would look like on, what's the other one? I just forgot what that's called. Mac or, oh, but just refresh the box so that you can see it. Can someone put the YouTube link on Facebook? If you're in here, Claudine, is there an issue? If you guys are watching and putting comments on here, I would think PC. Thank you. Thank you. PC. So, yes, if you're on PC, I think it's the same thing. You would refresh, but it's been so many years since I've used anything than my Mac. Sometimes I forget, right? So, yes, I'm sure that Natalie can just put a link, quickly share it in a comment on the Facebook group so that people can find us. I always find, even though I share it in a couple of different spots, it's always nice to kind of pin it to the top. And I'm sure Nat's on that. So I didn't do it tonight because I thought, okay, we were talking about it. I think we're good, but right? I'm dealing with this right now. Natalie's yelling at me, so she's doing it. She's cap yelling at me, so she'll put it on there, but it's okay. We'll chat for a little bit before we get into it, just so we can herd the cats, right? We can get everybody here, because I get it 100%. Look at, the only reason I look good with some of this technology is literally just from trying to work through all the issues that I have, but really, I'm not technologically savvy. It's just trying to throw stuff at it until something sticks, right? Renee, go out and come back in. Can someone type, hey, Renee, go out and come back into the link again? There should be no reason you can't see it. So that's what I would say, is go out and come back in. My husband just took my plate and told me to ring the bell if I need anything. Oh, that is awesome. That's what Rich said. So explain to me, this weekend, how's it work? I said, this weekend, I'm working the whole weekend. Your job is to take care of me. That's what I said to him. Your job is to take care of me. Just make sure I have something to drink, order food in. So I'm going to have a salad ready, but that's my biggest thing is, right, I need to be here for my people. So all I need is some help from my family. So I love that. Hi from San Antonio. I love it. I love that. Great partner. I do. I love that. So any questions, anything you would love to talk about before we get started? Tonight is going to be fun. Like I said, I am using fossilized amber and abandoned coral distress oxides. I use the oxide for the stamping techniques because they just stamp a little bit better than regular distress on acrylic type stamps. The other thing is you can use any color. Really, it doesn't even have to match this collection because all of these are kind of standalone. The only thing that I'm realizing that I'll have to find pieces for are the little scrappy pieces. But you can add any of that after. You can do the technique without doing some of this because you could just put a big sentiment or use any of your other stamps and stencils. Any of our friends from the crafting world can come to the party. What kind of, does anybody have fun earrings on tonight? Tonight, it's a flamingo night. I have my little animal print sweater and I got my nails done with sparkles for you guys today. I love it. And I'm ready to go. I'm just wasting time until people get here. So if you're watching after the fact, you can fast forward through this whole portion if the chatter is not your thing. But when we're doing it live, I just want to make sure everybody who's planning on being here can find their way. I'm wearing my pretty flamingo necklace. I love it, Sarah. Love the flexibility of your classes. Thanks, Jennifer. Really, right? It's all recorded. You can do any portion of this that you want to or not, right? It's totally up to you. My biggest thing, if you ask me Vicky, what should my takeaway from this class be? That it should be fun. If you're here for the community portion of it, you know I love that. It's one of probably the biggest reasons that I do any of these classes and just don't scrap on my own is because I love the connection. It's a favorite. There is a lot of talking because it's what we do. If I was teaching you a class live and in person, I would be doing this as well. There's some things I'm going to share because guess what arrived today? My new collection. And just a heads up, on February 3rd, all of the collections will be announced. I forget what my time is, but because you guys are here and I know it's just you and me right now, right? I'm going to share a couple little peeks. I'm going to pull out my, oh, it's a hard one. Do I pull out my favorite paper and show it to you right now? Or do we save it for the walkthrough, right? Do we save it for the walkthrough? I don't know. I will not be doing a full walkthrough until this new collection will not start shipping until mid-March. So we have a whole month in between. So I will be getting my order together and doing the pre-sale. And I'm planning to teach this class either in May or June for the new collection. And then I have lots of plans, right? So you want to see a peek? So when I flip the camera around, I'm gonna show you a corner of it. One of my favorites, because you know what I'm like. I'll say, this is my favorite. This one's my favorite. This one's my favorite. My friend, I have a friend, Mike, whose wife owns a store in Nova Scotia, Kelly, for my stamping studio. And he always says to me, you have a lot of favorites. And I'm like, I do, just like my kids. I have a lot of favorites. But I just went through this. You guys, you're going to love it. Totally different. Color palette is, I find neutrals for me are oranges, yellows, teals, greens, right? So I think you're going to freaking love it. But the whole thing came, except for the only thing I don't have right now are the box cards and the paper pads, I think, are the only thing I don't have. But I do have the papers, everything. So I'm very excited for it. So I hope you guys are going to be too. And we've started, just so you know, okay? We're working on Print Shop tonight. The new collection comes out this week, and guess what I'm actively working on right now? My collection for the fall. It never ends. It's kind of awesome, but it just is always, what is that? Cyclical? What is that word? It's just always going, like, right? It's just always going. So very excited. So I wanted to welcome, yes, question, what are you using at 3 Scrapbook Chicks in August? I haven't decided yet. I might do a combination of Print Shop and the new collection. That's what I'm thinking, because there are papers that will work between Print Shop and the new collection. So I might do that, a mix of the two, and it will be totally layout. So I'm gonna flip, right? Cyclical, right? Cyclical. Does that mean that it's just like it's a cycle, right? It's always going. So I feel like that's the jam, folks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip the camera around, and I am going to go and grab a quick pop because I forgot to bring water down and I don't want to cough on you. And then grab my stamp set, and then we're going to get going. Guess what else came today? There's something big that'll be announced tomorrow, and I already know. So just saying that. So just putting it out there. But that came today. Oop! Sorry, I bounced you all over. I apologize for the bouncy, right? So very excited to get started. Oh my goodness, friends. We've been waiting so long for this Print Shop weekend, and let's get the party started. Because they're cards, let me know if you want me to bring the camera in a little tighter. I can do that. Let me grab my drink and my stamp set. And this is what you will need for tonight, okay? It's right here. I have this sheet of plastic just so I have something clean going on. A mister, my stamp block. That's what I'm going to be using tonight. Your 2 sheets of white cardstock. Let's grab the stamp set. Got that. And my drink. And my drink. I'm coming, friends. I was so proud of myself. I'm so organized. And then realized I didn't get myself a drink. Okay, here we go. All right, so I can see your questions. If you have anything you want to talk about, let me know. And let me grab that peak. Let's start with the peak. So I will share it maybe again later, but I'm not showing you all of the things, but I'm going to show you a peek. So let me grab it. I sorted all of it out on my trays. which is the best system ever. So I'm going to grab you this one. I really feel like this is the one I need to share with you today, because I will be buying paper packs. Maybe this one. I'm going to give you this peek instead. You ready? Are you ready? Here it goes. I'm going to show you. There's a peek. There is a peek of the paper. What do you think? Look at it. So that is going to be one of the papers in this collection, right? Very excited. I'm very excited. The technique that we use for texture on here, it is a travel collection, but you know, as Vicki does, sorry, everything is tied up. Just a second. As Vicki does with her collections, that it is definitely travel themed, but you'll be able to use it. It will work beautifully with parts of Print Shop as well. So very excited about that. When I just was sorting through all of it today, I was like, oh, there are things from Print Shop that are totally going to mix with this one. Here, let's give you one more peek of something. Just because I feel like it today. So let me grab an ephemera pack and I will share something so you can kind of get an idea of the brightness of this collection. It's very fun. So look at that. So that's one of your ephemera pieces that can be cut apart. Look at that beautiful purpley blue, the yellow, the greens. It's going to be very pretty. So you see what I'm saying, that you will have aspects in here that will work beautifully for travel, but will also work beautifully for just every day. It's not a true purple, but it is like a bluey color, right? Let me show you that one more aspect of that. And then we have work to do. So, but you know, tonight I always feel like is very relaxed, but look at that color is beautiful, isn't it? And do you see the freshness of this? Yeah, like a periwinkle. I agree, Kathy. It is going to be a really pretty, a little bit of a cleaner approach than the Super Mixed Media ones. Almost kind of got a 60s vibe, but not really. Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one. There's flowers in it. There's a toucan in it, which Natalie was like, thank you so much, Vicki. It's my favorite bird. She was so excited about the toucan. So you guys, I think, are really going to enjoy it. And I will be doing the third. We will be doing a little something, something. But there will definitely be another one of these weekends. What is the other thing? I'm going to fill up my contract. Remember, I talked about a cruise to the Caribbean, a 5-day and 4-day. I have my contract here. I need to fill that out. So also be watching for that, details for that. So it will be great for pricing because they're smaller, right? And it will be out of Cape Canaveral. So very excited over that. So lots of things are coming, and I always like to kind of share that with you guys as we start working on the things that lots is coming down the pipeline. We're going to have a lot of fun. So tonight, my friends, after you go to Australia, you will love the kookaburras, the birds, right? They have those in New Zealand, I think, too, don't they? I think I saw them there too. Am I wrong? When will that cruise be? I don't remember. I think it's in like February or March of next year. So I will let you know. I will get that done over the weekend, send that in so they can get this site all set up. But I'm very excited about that. You guys asked, and I will be delivering. It will be coming. So for tonight, we are going to be making 2 cards using the stencil set that came in the kit and the stamp set. So 2 cards and 2 tags. These tags could go as an element on a scrapbook page. They could be added as an element to your album, or you could make a card. So I wanted to give you an idea that I cut this just out of cardstock I had as a 5x7, and you totally could make, look at, a beautiful card. And then even what I would do, I was trying to find one, but I couldn't quickly, is I'm going to put a die cut sentiment on the bottom, right? Grateful for the people who make us happy. And then I could put you on here, or friend, or something, thanks. And I think that would be beautiful. I would pick that kind of abandoned corally orangey pink color and put that on the bottom. But I wanted to cut one so you guys would see, right, that this totally could be used, right, on that background. Love this. And then you could put whatever you wanted on here, right? Celebrate could be fun, and you could use that as a card as well. But I also feel like these are little samples that could all be used in scrapbook layouts or in your mini albums. So let's get started. Do we have any questions before we kick off what we're doing tonight? I have my, like I said, my stencil set. I have my mister. I have ink blending tools. I have my 2 Distress Oxide inks, whatever color you want to use. I'm using Abandoned Coral, Fossilized Amber. I have a black stamping ink and a stamp block. And then I have a 1 inch and 1.5 inch circle punch and a craft mat, right? And I think we're good. I think we're, no questions, so I think we're ready to get started, right? Even if you have any kind of questions about this weekend or tomorrow, what did I say? Are we starting at 9 or 10? I haven't looked at, my schedule's here somewhere though, so maybe I can look like I know what I'm talking about. I just have to figure out where I put it, because I would like to speak on that, right? 10 o'clock, I believe 10, yes, because I like it to be not too bad for different time zones, right? So 10 a.m. Eastern time is when we will start. I know not so great for you, Maureen, but it's 7 a.m., right? So it's a long class. And I want to get the paper cutting done before we break for lunch. So because I live in the Eastern time zone, it's kind of how I have to work the schedule. But definitely do as much as you want tomorrow. You can come back and watch it when it's not live. Some people will just hang out and just kind of get a feel for the class, and then they'll do it all on their own. Whatever works for you totally works for me. We will do the paper cutting in the morning, and then we take a little break for lunch, and then we will come back and start getting everything laid out, and then we start assembly. And that's when you need lots of paper clips of whatever sort that you're using. I have like these, and I will have my container of paper clips as well. I usually have a couple containers going. And then we will start just kind of clipping and flipping. You will want to make sure you have your adhesives. I use 1/8 inch double-sided tape to secure my flips and flaps. And the other thing I find is super helpful is a wet glue. I use Connect. You can use Glossy Accents, the glitter glue, whatever one you use, because sometimes the tape, there's so many layers on some of the interactive bits that the glue isn't on the double-sided tape, just isn't strong enough. But I find that the adhesive, approximately when will it end? I have absolutely no clue, Denise, because I pretty much gauge the class by the amount of questions I'm getting or how quickly people are going through their paper cuts. We've done a lot, like, right? We cut a lot of paper. I wouldn't say it's half. We probably did a third. So we still have about 2/3 of the paper to cut. So I figure paper cutting, if we start at 2, that we, or at 10, that we'll aim for 12:30 to be done the paper cutting, and then assembly. It's a big album. It's 70 pages or so. So I'm going to say 5 o'clock, but it could go a little later, right? It could go a little later. But I have to work until it's done, because you guys need to have some kind of reference. So you can work as long as you like, but I will work until the album's done. So if it meant I needed to keep going till 7, I would. Some people would stick around, some wouldn't, but then at least you have a reference to come back to see it. And I will also do a flip through of the entire album so that you can pause on different parts of the video to have closer look at stickers and different embellishments as well. Okay? Yeah, definitely, whatever works. But I would say I'm going to aim, I'm thinking between 5 and 6. Who knows? I really, sometimes like we'll be like, oh, I think we're going to be done so much faster because we did all this prep work. And then we're sitting there going, okay, there were a lot of questions, so it didn't go as quickly as possible. So I'll guesstimate, right? Yeah, I'll guesstimate for about that time. So you need your paper trimmer. The first thing we're going to do is cut the card bases, which if you want to take a look at that, we're going to cut 2 5.5 by 8.5 pieces, and then out of the remaining 3.5 by 12 inch strip, 2 6-inch pieces. So we're going to do this first, and then we have a whole second piece of paper that really you probably could get a third card base out of. We don't need tons of it for the mixed media, so I'll try to keep everything in one little section, and then you have that other white cardstock to use for whatever you like, okay? So I am going to cut one of the 12 by 12 white pieces that was in the kit, and I will do this with you guys right now. How's everybody doing? Are you excited for this weekend? I know that a lot of people were reaching out and saying, oh my goodness, I'm not going to be here this weekend. I don't want you to think I'm ignoring you, Vicki. I just have other stuff, life things going on. And I love that. Thank you for reaching out because, you know, some that have been here a lot and are very vocal. I will notice when you aren't here and talking to me. So thank you for that. Then I know it's not me. You just have other things to do. And some have like basketball games and anniversaries and other things that you're going to do. Pop in as often as you like or you can. Some of you I know are going to be here with me for the whole entire weekend. I love that. I'm going to be right here with you guys. I just hope you really enjoy the process. If this is your first time doing this, I find that I pace the classes, I think, rather well. There's a rhyme and reason to the why I set the classes up, where we cut together and then we assemble, because you will get more in this project done with this process than if we cut and did one page at a time. If we did that, we probably would only get, I don't know, 10 pages of the album done, and you'd be left on your own. So long ago with the teaching, I found that this system really works for mini albums, well, for everything. The one thing, the math and the cutting is the hardest part in a class, because all of our brains will look at a square and cut differently. So by me just kind of walking you through my process, I find it makes it so much easier. So that's why you saw a lot of people get like, oh, don't cut ahead. Because one, it's what you paid me for. It's I'm going to do all of that with you. And the other thing is that cutting diagram can look like a little crazy. Like, how did she get those cuts? Or you notice that all the numbers weren't on it, because in my brain I had missed writing some of the things down, but I have altered my cutting diagram so all of the numbers are on that. And the first thing, or actually tonight before we're done, I will show you some little things where I added. And if you guys had any questions when you were looking at it, then you can let me know and I'll go over it. Okay? So the first thing we're going to do with this 12 by 12 is cut an 8.5 by 12 inch piece. You'll be here the whole weekend. I love this. This is your first event with you. I'm running behind, but I'm enjoying it every minute of it. I love it, Janice, and really not running behind. You don't have to have the waterfall feature done. I only put that separately because it is kind of labor intensive. So I wanted, I couldn't have put that in this weekend because I think it would have taken up too much time and it would have stressed people out. So I just stressed people out right in the beginning, and then I figure they'll forgive me by this point. The fussy cutting, or fussy cussing as we call it here, you don't have to have done ahead of time. You just need to do it at some point. The only thing that you kind of have to have done is the prep work. Because it's paper cutting, I'm not going to be going over any of that tomorrow. But here's the other thing. It doesn't mean you can't play. Just have sticky notes handy. So if you didn't cut that paper, you could put notes throughout, like I need the whatever, number 10 4x6 mat. And then you could come back and add it. So it's all doable, right? It's all doable. She said waterfall, everybody drink. No, and you know what? Here's the funny thing. I was talking to my friend Kari, and I'm like, Some people love the waterfall and some people hated it. And Kari's like, don't stop doing those things because I love the challenge. And I'm like, oh, I won't stop. It's one of those things I feel like if we were hanging out together, I would pressure you to do it because I'm like, it's fun. Once you get the hang of it, it's fun. And then the other thing is, if you didn't like it, I'd be like, okay, you tried it. You don't ever have to do it again if you don't want to. But I loved it. I thought it was fun, right? So let's trim that 8.5 by 12. And that will leave us with the 3.5 that we will then cut in half in a minute. And then you need two 5.5 by 8.5 pieces. And that's going to give you the A2 card bases. Yeah, I'm going to keep, if you've met me before, I think that they're fun things. And like I said, when I did that waterfall, I had to do it a couple times to get everything squared and lined up right. But I think it was worth it. It's a fun little thing. It makes anybody who's going to look through that album think you're super clever. So I think it's worth it. And like I said, some of you guys hate the fussy cutting and you hate maybe the interactive bits, and that's totally okay. You can do them or you don't have to, right? Buy an extra embellishment pack or do whatever makes you happy. In the end, I can tell you that, hey, I think you should do it, but at the end of the day, you don't have to listen to me. You totally do whatever makes you happy. We're going to score these card bases now at 4.25, which is half of 8.5. And I'm just going to do this quickly. You can use a score board. I just use the well of my trimmer because I can. What else are we saying here? I love the waterfall. Also love drinking games. I love it too. I will not be drinking because I have to be the responsible one and make sure we get through the class. But I saw some of you have your cocktails ready and are down for a really good weekend, and I'm right there with you. Cheers. All right. Some of you are like, I'm drinking coffee because I've got to stay on my toes, whatever you want to do, right? So there's one card base. Do it again with the other. This is just scrap. Okay, I'm not using that today, but I'll show you some options if you want that little piece for one of the things that we're doing. So again, scoring the second one at 4.25. That gives me the other. You're not driving tonight. I love it. You just returned from a Caribbean cruise yesterday. It was a long travel day with delays. Got home at 1:30. Now to catch up with all the prep. It's all there for you, my friend, right? Even if that's what you're doing tonight, is doing like some of the cutting. Or do it whenever you have time, right? Vacations are important, Vicky. So you got to do that kind of stuff, right? I re-engineered the waterfall to fit your 10 by 8 December daily album, and it's so excited. For sure you can, right? You can make any of that. Now that you get the concept of how it works, you can make it as big, put as many flaps on it as you want. Definitely, I love that. Okay, so those are my two card bases that are 4.25 by 5.5. And then we still have this strip that's a 3.5 by 12, and we're going to cut two 6-inch pieces, and this is what I did or used for the little tags. You can cut tag shapes, whatever you want to do with it, friends. Really, like I said, when we used to started these classes, we didn't do this card class. It was just, I just keep adding stuff, right? So when we first started, we would just do the album and we would do the layouts, and there was no prep. There'd just be kind of a little meet and greet. And then as I went along and I see how online classes are different than in person, I have just found that let's spread it out as long as I want to have as much time with you guys as possible. So I just spread it out a little bit. And now we do a card class, and I just think it's a fun place to put the technique-y stuff in. And then the other thing that we do now is the bonus. So I don't ever know when that's going to be. But we will do with our scraps, we will make something out of it in the end where I can come back and say, hey, how's it going? How did you enjoy the class? And then we'll make a bonus layout, right? Hi, Dawn. How are you? So that is our basis, or those, not that is. Those are our bases for what we're making tonight. Like I said, tonight's really about technique. That's really what we're going to do mostly. When we do some of these techniques, we have this extra piece of paper, which we're going to do a little strip for these circles on that. This is going to come out of the little flowers. So really you only need a strip of this, right? You only need, I don't even have the written instructions here, because like I said, I only do that because I know some of you guys like that kind of thing. It's just gobbledygook numbery things, so it's a 2-inch strip. So let's do that. This is what we're going to cut. I am going to trim a 2-inch, maybe a little bit more than that. Let's just do, I think maybe, let's trim off, I don't know, I'm just going to kind of eyeball it. I think 3.5. Let's trim like a 3.5. 4, let's go, 4. Trim a 4 by 12, and that's all we're going to use. And then this is just bonus, okay? So a 4 by 12 for our technique-y stuff. Designated scrapper. I love it, Chris. So a 4 by 12 from the second sheet, and this is what we are going to do our kind of mixed media stuff with, okay? So that only took me, like, right, I gave you 12 numbers, but what the final number is 4 by 12. So let's start with our inky stuff. So we have our card bases. This is just going to be stenciling, layering stencils, and some stamping. For this one, we are going to stencil and stamp. This one's going to be directly on the card base, which I think we might do this first so it dries. And then we're going to stencil and stamp and punch out for this one. So I think for fun, let's start with this one first so it has a second to dry. So what you need for this first one, and it might not be the order that is on the instructions, it's just so you have something to reference later, but I want to start with this one, so that's what we're going to do, okay? So just grab one of your card bases, and then from your stencil set, for right now, just this lovely, to me, everyone should have. This stencil should get a lot of workout because circles are just, I think, everybody's friend, design friend, right? I'm going to grab my craft mat. So when you're doing this, you just want something that you can apply your ink on and it's not going to get everywhere, okay? So we're starting with this little guy so it can dry and then we'll come back to it. So I have my craft mat. I use this one, and then the other one that I use is the one I sell in my store, is the white one from American Crafts. It is the Sticky Thumbs one, but a craft mat is always a good idea. Are we using the textured side of the cardstock? For the card, yes. Yeah, for the card it is, because look at, I think it really looks, you can totally see it, and it looks pretty. So for this one, textured side. I did not use the smooth, I used the textured side. Great question. Okay, I'm gonna have a little drink. And then this this stencil for right now, and the fossilized amber. So right now I have my card base ready, and your mister. And finally a paper towel. So like I said, what's fun with this technique is that we're going to be able to use this on, like we have this whole scrap of paper when we do our bonus layout, which I've already decided is going to turn into 2 bonus layouts. So you're going to have 12 layouts, or maybe we can fake it and make a double. You guys can decide. I will put, at the end of the weekend, when I do the follow-up, I will put a, what do you call that? When I ask you guys to vote, what is that called? Oh my goodness, how did I lose that? A poll. That's the word I was looking for. I'll put a poll up. Not the cross stencil yet. No, not yet, Dawn. That's the next step, okay? I'll put a poll up, and then you guys can vote for 2 singles or a double. And then I know already the vote's probably going to be double, and I don't care. I will do it for you guys because I know you love that. So what are we going to do? We're going to take our fossilized amber, oxide ink, or any color, 2 colors that coordinate, and I am going to literally rub it or pounce it on my stencil. I don't have to cover the whole thing because guess what? It's not going to cover the whole page anyway, right? So kind of up in the left corner, because when you flip it, that's the side you're going to see. And we don't have to put a ton of ink on there, okay? That will work. I'll tell you something that I would recommend doing now is lift that and wipe all this extra ink off so that it just isn't a mess all on the back of your card. I like to kind of keep my work surface clean, right? The next thing we're going to do now is mist on it. Okay, I'm going to put some water, not a ton. I just want that ink to be moving around. If you didn't ink it very well, just do this a little bit, right? I know we're going to finger paint a little bit. Just make sure that is moving around. And it's not just like one big mess, okay? Now, again, I'm going to wipe up all that water off my craft mat, so I'm not putting my card in that. And then we're going to take our card base, we're going to flip this, and you're just going to press that on there. Oh, I love it. Simplest technique ever. And then I will press through with my paper towel. I call this stencil kissing. It is a very common technique Vicki Boutin uses. I'm not lifting it right away because I find let that ink and water suck into the paper for a second. Okay. And then you're going to lift it and then just set the card base to dry. So carefully lift it off. I love it. And then just set that aside to dry because this is cardstock. I'm not going to lie. I would not heat this. Put it under something heavy right now while we're working on the other stuff. Okay? So let's let it sit for a second. Pick up any extra wet spots. Right? And then let's put it underneath something that is heavy that it can dry naturally. And then we can put the second step on. But I don't want to heat gun cardstock because it's going to buckle like crazy. So I'm just going to take this now. I'm getting up and I'm going to put it behind me under some books or a stack of cardstock or something. Okay, so that it can dry flat. So some of you might be like, I don't have anything like that around here. Do your best, whatever you have, right? So I actually have a whole stock of cardstock here, a stack of it. And then I'm going to put a whole stack of other crap on top of it. There we go. Okay, there. Done and done. Now, if you have a scrap piece of paper laying around, I wouldn't waste this. You could totally stamp it into something else. Your choice. But, right, Distress ink, there's so much pigment that really, right, you totally could use this on another card base for later instead of wasting all of that on something else. See how pretty? Now I don't have anything, so it's just going on this paper towel. And then I'm cleaning it off so it's ready for another card or anything else we're going to do tonight, okay? Yeah, you could use the plates for anything heavy and flat, right? So that technique's super fast, right? Look at all the pigment we got down. And it will have when we go through on the other part, when it dries, is just with an ink blending tool. So then you have that kind of fun textury, mixed media background, but it's very controlled, right? This shouldn't, like Tim says, you won't freak your freak. You're not gonna freak out over this because that was easy. You didn't really get super messy, but it's a watercolory wet technique. Fun and fast. It's a Vicki favorite, stencil stamping. Been doing that one for years. Don't need to reinvent the wheel every time, right? So that was the messiest. That's the only time we're using wet. Everything else now will be with your blending tools and your stamps and stencils. Okay, I have my black ink, which I'm using tonight, Gina K Amalgam ink. Really test your black ink because some kind of bleed a little bit. I like the Amalgam ink. I like Ranger Archival. So whatever you want to use, but I'm going to be using my Gina K and my stamping block, and my punch is ready. When you are using Distress Oxides, you must use their own blending tool, craft foam, whatever you're using, it should have its own. You never cross-contaminate between these two pads. You will ruin your ink pads. Distress ink doesn't matter, but with oxides it does. Okay, so there's the other thing. If you're new, you bought them because Vicki told you you needed them, but you don't really use them a lot. With oxides, that is one of your hard and fast rules, is you don't share a blending tool between the foam between them, because you will contaminate your pads, okay? So just keep that in mind. Okay, so let's do that strip. Okay, so what we need to do on the strip is we'll have to make sure we stamp our love this and then our flowers. So let's start with this technique first. Okay, I'm doing all of this on the smooth side just so I have a better stamped image. And let's start with the circles for this one, okay? So I'm going to use this stencil again. Now, when you look, it's really only going to be the top portion of the stencil. So I'm going to put that, oops, maybe here, right? So that I have just that portion. If you need to, you can grab some washi tape. This might be helpful, right, to secure it. Here's some. Painter's tape, whatever. Tacky, ooh, I have this stuff too, right? So I don't have to ruin my washi or waste my washi. Just some mint tape, right? And then that will hold my stencil and my background. Oop. There are so many fun new things I'm going to be ordering. I have so many emails for new products and stuff that are coming out that I'm really excited about. So this is one that, like, American Crafts is going to have a version of this now. So it will be in my store. Like all of the favorite things that I love to use, I'm going to have there so you guys have easy access to it, right? Hello, Robin. How are you? So what are we going to do? We are going to ink up an ink blending tool with the Fossilized Amber, and I am just going to go in and create, really just need the top 2 rows. So I put that on there, but you don't need it, okay? Just the top 2 rows. So hold your background and your stencil and put in your color in the top 2 rows. So I will put some where they're darker and some that are lighter, right? And that's it for that. We're going to cut that out and use it just as a little strip. The other thing we need to do now are like individual circles. So if you want, you could mask just one circle that you could use, okay? So I'm just going to mask around this. And use just this one circle. Okay? Because now I'm just using one circle that I need to create a couple of yellow dots and then leave some space around those dots, right? So that you can punch them out. So I'm going to go on here and maybe near the top of the page, leaving, I don't know, about a ½ inch around that. I'm going to go in and I'm just going to ink up a circle and maybe do another one down here. Just enough so when you use your 2½ or 1½ inch punch, you can punch around that and still get that space, okay? So how many of them do we need? 1, 2, at least 5. So fit as many, if you can get 6 on there will be great, because then if you muck one of them up with your stamping, you still have another one to use, okay? So I will try to get 3 across here. Maybe one down in this corner. Right? And one kind of in the middle. We have all that scrap if you have to use it, or any white paper. You don't have to have anything super fancy for this. Okay? Any questions? As I told you, tonight is pretty relaxed. We're not going to be here for a long time because we have a lot to do tomorrow, right? So I don't want to overwhelm you with too much tonight, so that you can get everything set up and you're ready for tomorrow. And I guess what I have to do? I have to do some fussy cutting so that there are things tomorrow when we're working. Because I had every intention of doing it, but I didn't do it. Okay, so what do we need? We need the Love This stamp. Let's do 2 of those right out of the gate. So Love This, which you know is a Vickyism. Love this, love it, love that. It's my favorite. And I'm just going to ink that up. If it's a brand new ink stamp, if you haven't used it yet, test it. Run your thumb over it and just make sure there's no sizing on your stamp. When I stamp these, I offset it. So I'm not going to stamp it right on the in the center. I put it down and then just kind of offset it so that the circle kind of goes around it, right? Now my Distress Oxide isn't super dry, and that's why you're not going to, it's not really, really black in the middle. If you're using a Misty, you could stamp that a couple of times. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. So if it does bother you, you want your oxides to dry first. Hi Carla, question. So is what you stamped first going to be cut out? Yes. Yeah, we're going to cut near the bottom of that. So if you feel better about it, you could totally cut that out first. Right? Here, I'll show you. So for that, I totally could take that and cut that out. Just at the bottom of it, right? So that's what's going to go on here. We're going to trim it a little bit more, but right? It's going to be about there. Somebody's going to ask me, what did I cut? And it's about 5 1/2, 5 3/4. So I'm going to stamp another one of these. I don't know if that, I think it should be good. I did ink it, right? Not losing my mind. So those are 2 of those for our card. And then the other thing I need to do now is, I'll give that stamp just a little wipe. And we need the one that looks like a little burst. Okay, a little sunburst. I love the stamp set too, for me, right? Circles, circles, circles. Love them. I can put my lid back on here. And now I'm going to use the Abandoned Coral to make these little flowers. So Abandoned Coral. Ink it up. Test it if you need to. But I know this works because I've done it once already. I like to clean my ink block or stamping block off. It needs it. And then I'm just going to stamp, sorry, my head's going to be in here for a second, just over your little circle. Again, you can offset it, so that one's right on the circle. I totally could go in there, and this one I could kind of stamp offset. So the circle isn't right in the center, totally okay with that. It will still fit in my 1.5 inch circle punch. So do a third one if you feel you need it, or another love this, whatever you want to do. I might do one more. Because it's there, might as well use it, right? Love these two colors together. Drive carefully, Denise. You're not missing anything. Like I said, tonight is just for fun, right? Tonight is just for fun. You can do this at any point, right? So those are my little stamped images. The oxide takes a little bit to dry, so be careful now when you go to do any of your punching. We still have some more stamping to do, but just to show you now, right? I will take my 1.5 inch punch and just find the spot where I can make it the circle I like. Whoop. This would make a great background on a layout too. I really think, how do you guys feel if we take the techniques from the cards and then make them into something for our layout? So if you guys, when I do the poll, that's going to be one of the questions I ask. How would you feel if we now take this, what we're doing tonight, and we make it the technique for the layout, for the bonus layout? I think that could be a lot of fun. Right? Because I really like to show you why everyone should do mixed media and stamping. You know, if you want to be my friend, I pressure you into these kind of things. So I would pressure you into that. I pressure you into going to my favorite restaurant. I pressure you into watching the movie I want to watch, because it's important to me that you like the things I like as my friend. I'll like the things you like too. At least try them, right? But I think it's always fun to show how to level things up. And it also shows you why Vicki had to have a circle set of stamps again. And that really, if they let me, I'd do another circle set. And now look at, you made a stencil that you could use. So save this. When you're done cutting it out, whatever you have left over, this should be part of your homework for when we do the layouts, okay? Why would we throw this away? This could be another part of the little class we're going to do. My mother would say, we couldn't be friends if you do peer pressure. Well, you know what? I feel like it's not peer pressure. It's just, what can it be? It's not peer pressure. It's more just Vicki knows best. Right? You know, I hang with Seth, so mixed media is my thing. Yep, you do. And I love what he does, right? And I love that all of the mixed media and the different techniques I learn, and then how you would put them in. Like if I did a Seth technique, I would do it way brighter, right? But the whole thing is I would learn things that I wouldn't have known, like with layering, embossing powders and all the rest of it. But I would just pick a different palette. But there's the whole thing is some people would watch and go, oh, that's too dark. I'm not going to really watch what this person does. And I'm like, but you should, because they're going to teach you the technique and the steps behind it. And then you can personalize anything any way that you want, right? You are twisting my arm. Yes, I am. It's powerful encouragement. I love that, right? I love that. So Vicki pressure. Yeah, I love it. Okay, so look, that was fast, right? So far we've done those things. Let's come back and finish this little guy. So this little guy, oh my goodness, and I totally gave you the wrong instructions for this, so we have to cut a piece of paper. Or watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it on the other side. I used the wrong stencil, friends. I got so excited. So you can use this if you want. It still will work, but I'll give you the option that don't do what Vicki, don't listen to me half the time. I don't know what I'm talking about. So I'm going to show you. It was this stencil that I used. So your option, will it still work? Yes, it will still work, but I'm not going to grab another piece of paper. I'm going to make it work now on the textured side. If you want to grab more of your paper, you can, but I just realized that I was a total liar. I was a total liar. I told you guys to do things wrong. So we're just going to do it again. I'm going to show you. See? What about that for building confidence in the Vicky? So, it'll still work. So I'm just using the other side of it, okay? I'm going to do kind of like the 2 rows with the stencil with the 4 portion little squared one, okay? I'm very surprised that, was anybody yelling at me and I missed it? Isn't that funny? I'll show you what it looks like and then you can make your decision. But see, look how fun that is. So you can do that or you can do this. I'm going to do this and I'm all right that it's on the textured side. It'll still work just fine. Sorry for leading you astray. You thought I was making the daisy background? No, I was just testing everybody, Carla, to see if anybody was paying attention, like Vicky wasn't, right? So it's totally gonna go. Nope, going with the flow. So I just did on the other side. It's totally fine. And now we're going to put the stamp that looks like a star. And I'm going to stamp on top of these now in the abandoned coral. And it will work just fine. So no worries, friends. No worries. It'll still be okay. So I'll let you catch up if you're like, oh, just a second, Vicky, I need to ink that one. So I just flipped my card over because nobody's going to see it, right? And I did it on the other side. And then I'm going to take that little star and we're going to stamp in the middle. So you can line it right up or you can put it askew if you want to see how it turned out. See, it's all right. So it looks a little bit more textury, but totally works. So some of them you can stamp askew. You could line that up with the center bits, whatever you want to do, okay? And just kind of stamp down this pattern. Look how fun that is. I love the stencil set. Very fun. Okay, and then we'll set this aside to dry. So we have our punch bits. We're going to let that dry for a little bit, and then we're going to come back and punch them. And let's do the rest of our inking, so we don't have to clean up multiple times, okay? So I set this guy aside because I don't need him for a little bit. Any questions so far? Right? So stamped. You could totally do it on these if you want. I just like that layer of that white line, the little cross through the middle of them. What are those buns? Hot cross buns? They look like little hot cross buns. You could use this on Easter for little hot cross buns. That's when we eat those, right, at Easter? So set that aside to dry. And then the other thing we need to work on is our card base. Okay, so this guy here. So we are going to lay the stencil down and we're going to ink some of the circles and then we are going to layer the flower on top of it. I love it. Good morning in Australia. Hello, how are you? So I ask you every time, is it Cherie or Sherry? Every single time, and you'll be like, Vicky, what is wrong with you? So you just booked my class at Natalie Mays. So excited. Oh my goodness. For any of my friends in Australia, I worked out all the details with Natalie, and she's opened up for the event in Adelaide. So for any of my friends in Australia, I will be there in November of this year, and it is going to be supercalifragilistic. It's going to be so much fun. So I'm hoping for any of my friends in Australia that you're going to come and hang out with me. It's going to be a lot of fun. So guess what, friends? I want to tack this card down so I don't move it everywhere, and I'll tack my stencil down. So again, you could use painter's tape, or you could use some washi tape, or I'm just using this here. So you can see I kind of put it askew. It's kind of askew. Oh my goodness, I love it. So many friends question, are you going to teach I'm only teaching in Adelaide. Friends, just to give you an idea, for that whole trip, I go to New Zealand and I teach. I will be on a cruise for 2 weeks teaching, and then I'm only doing one land-based class in Adelaide. I have a relationship with Natalie. We have taught together in the past. I would love to teach multiple times, but it's just the one. It's just the one. So I'm hoping that it gives you enough time if you plan on traveling to it, or if not, if you're coming on the cruise, or I'm going to go to, I think, Sydney, and to where's the other one? Sydney and, I don't know, 2 places, and I'm going to be in Brisbane. So yeah, it's going to be a lot. You're doing the first cruise. I love that, Maureen. So what we're going to do, so I'm going to Sydney just to tour. So if you wanted to come and meet me, we could do that. But I will only be teaching at the one land class. But it's going to be amazing. So it might be something you want to think about, right? Oh, that's very exciting, Julie. Yay! So put your little stencil on an angle. Make sure that you hold your card so it doesn't move on you. And you're just going to ink again with Fossilized Amber, the gold pattern. So if you are nervous that you're going to go over your edges, mask that. Even put some scrap down and mask around your stencil. You can just move your mask as you work in it. I find because it's a circular pattern, I feel like I'm not going to go all crazy and get outside of the stencil area. But if you feel like you're a little heavier handed, totally go in and do that. And you're just going to put your ink down in your stencil areas. I did not know that was open already, so that's some exciting news. I can't wait to come and hang out with you guys. She said that the interest has been, oops, I moved it, so I feel like it's done. The interest has been huge. There's going to be a lot of us hanging out. It's going to be a lot of fun. Okay, so there is your stenciled pattern. What size paper is this card base? It's an A2. So right at the beginning, we cut. I don't know if you're here the whole time. I might be like 2 8.5 by 5.5 that we folded in half for A2 cards. And then we have the tags, which we have not used yet. We're not stenciling directly on the 3.5 by 6. We're using other pieces. This is the only one we're going to stencil both on the card, and then we're going to come back in a minute and stencil on this one. Okay? I hope that answered the question, if that made any sense at all. So look how fun. This is so easy. If you had to whip a card up really quickly, look how quickly that works. So guess what works right on top of it? These stencils are all meant to layer on top. So now you can take, and if you notice, I offset it. You could put it right in the center of those circles if you wanted to, but find where it lays on the center of the circle. And then I just shifted it up towards the right corner a little bit, because I just thought it kind of looks fun. Offset. Do whatever makes you happy. And again, I want to make sure that the card and the stencil don't move. So make sure that you kind of attach those two. And then for this one, I'm going to use the Abandoned Coral, or whatever color you're using is totally great. So I'm going to ink up my ink blending tool. And again, in a circular motion, you do not need much. The oxides are some pretty powerful ink. So look at, I'm not even going to reload this. I'm going to just keep using it. And then if I want to beef one of them up, I can, but I'm going to get as much ink off that and move it around on the stencil. And then maybe ink that one a little darker, because I'm totally okay if some of these are light. Look how fast was that, friends. And I find these stencils are very simple patterns that don't set you up to fail. Like anybody can be a mixed media master with really simple patterns like that. Just remember that your ink is a little bit wet, okay? So you don't want to rub it because you would smudge that. But look how fun is that? I love this. So in any color palette, because I know some of you, maybe now that I said, hey, you don't have to use those two ink colors, use whatever you want, that you've probably selected something else and you can do some beautiful things. So I'm going to set this one aside and let's go check on our card that we pressed under the books. Let's go. Pretty good, right? Now it's not super buckly. And because these are oxides, and that's the magic of when the ink is wet, and it oxidizes, that I have a couple different colors on this, which I absolutely love. Very fun, right? So for this one, I'm going to give this stencil a wipe, because we're going to layer that now inside, and I'm going to put the abandoned coral through it. But I'm going to clean off the fossilized amber. So let me grab a baby wipe. Try not to fall out of my chair because I'm reaching, because that would not be good. I'm sure you guys would get a kick out of it. I was watching this class with this lady named Vicki Booten, and while she reached across to get her baby wipes, she totally fell off her chair. I would laugh. I would laugh at myself if I did it, but I didn't. We're safe. Okay? Doopy doopy doo. That song is in my head all the time. That Body Shop song. I'm gonna, because I am who I am, I'm gonna give all of these a wipe right now while I'm at it. So I put my paper towel underneath. Did you notice? Reason being, if I clean these on my craft mat, this is resist water, so then I just have double the mess. So if I clean everything up on top of my paper towel, then it absorbs the ink and the mess, and it's one less step. So now all my stencils are clean and ready to go. So you could put, I opted to layer on this one the quartered circles. You could put flowers on it if you want to, whatever makes you happy in the opening, right? So if you wanted to go into those open spots and put flowers in it, you totally could. See, it would work beautifully. So this is your card. You do whatever makes you happy. I'm going to go in and put the little quartered circles, and again I offset it. So find the center, right? Find the center, and then I just went boop and moved it a little bit because I like it. If you don't like that, you don't have to. Do whatever makes you happy, because that makes me happy too. And then I'm going to put my little tapey bits down again. No, I know you wouldn't want me to hurt myself, but it's okay if you laughed at me if I fell off my chair, because I'm not going to lie, Vicki. I would make sure you're okay, but ask my mother if she's here. I would laugh if you fell, not because I'm laughing that you fell or laughing at you. I just find that when those kind of things happen and I get like nervous in that, I totally would laugh. I totally would laugh. I would laugh if I fell off my chair. So, hi Mindy. It's important to watch those grandkids, so I'm glad you're here now, but glad you got some time in with your grandbabies. Okay, so I'm going to go in with this stencil now, and I'm going to put some abandoned coral in here, and I'm going to start kind of in the middle, just because I don't have to go close to the edge, and worry that I'm going to go over the edge. So I start kind of in the middle. I love it. You could ink some of them and not all of them. You could do whatever you want. You can go light with the ink and dark on some of them, whatever makes you happy. So I'm going to go dark on a few and then leave some of them just with that kind of wash of ink color. Maybe this one too. Maybe that. But look how fast that was. I don't even have to re-ink my blending tool. But I want to make sure some of those edges get it. And now watch for the big reveal. Very fun, right? I love that. Love it. And now, I think that's all of our inking. And so put your lids back on so you don't put your elbow in it. And I know I need my black stamping ink. So now we're going to stamp a couple random stars. We're going to stamp some circles. And then we can assemble. Right? Then we can assemble. So a little closer look. So you'll see on this one, I didn't stamp all of them. I only stamped a few. You do it totally whatever makes you happy. And you can put your leftover tag on this later. If I can dream it, I can do it. Or if you don't like that for a card, don't use it, right? Whatever you want to do works for me too. I didn't want, like, we could do really labor-intensive cards, but this is a long weekend. There's a lot to do. So sometimes I think it can be fun. That simple can still be really impactful and fun. And I found these cards, I just totally enjoyed the process of making them. So if you want to make more layers and do other things with it, you totally could after the fact, or even tonight. Some of you guys might continue playing and do a little bit more on your cards, whatever works for you. But we're totally going to take some of these techniques and we will put them on our bonus, if you guys agree, because I'll put it up in a poll and you can tell me if it's something you want to do. So I'm just going to go in and add some little black starburst to some of these. So I know I did this bottom one. Now I stenciled this a little bit differently, so it's not going to be exactly the same. I love this. It's like the Jetsons, right? It reminds me of the Jetsons. That one maybe? Ooh, I just did like X and O's, so let's break that up a little bit. And I will do this one too. And then maybe one off down here. And we will call it a day when I do that. There. So whatever you want to do, whatever makes you happy. Okay? Hi, Debbie. How are you? And that's it. For the little banner that I added, I wouldn't do that tonight. I'd wait till when your scraps, after we do all the cutting, and you can come back and add this. Because this is out of the mint and navy paper later. The mint and navy. I popped this up, but I put my paper clip on first and then put foam dots to keep it secured in spot underneath on the banner piece. So this banner piece is going to be from your scraps later. It's about 1 1/4 by 3 1/4. 1 1/4 by 3 1/4. You can use whatever you want. I love this turquoisey mint on this yellow and peach. I think it's beautiful. So I'm not going to finish it. This is all I'm doing for tonight, what I just showed you. And then this one I might finish totally different. I might go into my stamps and dies and just put a big turquoise sentiment. Wouldn't that be fun? Look at out of that. I could just put celebrate or hello or thanks and just make a little thank you card. So I will just leave that for now. But that is how I finished that card, just because I was trying to use whatever was left over in the kit. but you don't have to do that, right? I just wanted, in case people didn't have all of the things, that they could just use from their scraps. But you could totally now go into your other things and use whatever makes you happy. Let's finish this guy up. So this one, when you finish it, the little gold dots in the middle are off of your puffy, I think the puffy thickers is where I got those from, or the little pack or the big word one of them. But wait till the end and then you can come back, or if you're happy with using them on the card, go ahead and use them on your card now, and you don't have to use them in the book or the layouts, whatever you want to do. So for this one, I decided just to, one of these guys is going to go on here with a foam dot. I'm not going to stick it down just yet, but I can show you for positioning that I put it, So again, I think I placed my stencil a little bit differently. So wherever you want to put that, right? I might just cover that guy up like that on this one. I like that. And now we're going to just stamp some of these in black, just to tie that black in there. So I'm going to grab my favorite stamp on the whole stamp set is this guy. I love that. I will use this stamp often. And did you see, I think it was Dandy who posted that if you have one of my older sets of stamps, I have to look for it because I don't know where it is. There's a circle die in it. That's a wonky circle, but totally will work with cutting these stamps out. Or you probably have a circle die that will work if you buy dies and stamps, or your punches, right? So let's ink this up and decide what we want to stamp in black. So I'm going to ink my circle. I'm going to move that guy off of here, and then just kind of around the flower maybe. I'm going to stamp that nice little circle. And do this one. Look, I don't care if it's positioned perfectly. Actually, I like the charm too of totally offsetting it. So see this one here? I'm going to go a little higher on that and stamp that higher. Question, Vicky, my fossilized amber looks like a mustard color and your color seems yellow. Is that just the camera? Probably just the camera. But it's not dark, it's yellow. It's pretty bright. It's not as bright as mustard seed. But can I tell you, if you do not own fossilized amber, you want that color. I find it matches almost every collection that I use. I have to say, I'm a kind of lover of the fossilized amber. So if you were resistant because you're like, I don't know if I like that color, I'd have to say again, because I'm that friend who's going to pressure you, oh, you need it. That's what I'd say. You need that fossilized amber. Do you like that? You don't have to get it if you don't want to, but really, I would if I were you. That's the friend I am, right? So because I inked this one a little differently, I'm just going to kind of do that. I'm happy with those, okay? And then my love this will go right there. So I like that. So when you look at what my process is, right, is that I love that the base color in yellow is kind of what laid out the pattern or the design. And then the flower layers on top of it, creating some depth and fun color palette. And then that black just adds that little bit of oomph to really outline and make the pattern pop. So I love layering paper. I love layering stamps. I love layering embellishments, and that's by popping up Love This and then putting the little gold dots in the finished card. I think this is super simple, and if you had to whip a card up quickly, you totally could. And imagine too, if we had, right, a die, I could totally put a die on this card instead of that stamp. Like Love This, and you could put whatever, Celebrate. Wouldn't that be fun? in turquoise or black or navy, just the word celebrate. And I might do that to show you guys in my spare time. I'll figure it out. But put one where I can show you a layered die would look really fun on these. When I cut out the circles, you thought egg yolks. Yeah, really. Or even better, it reminds me of, I don't know if my friend Patty is here tonight. This reminds me of those colors of a Cadbury cream egg, which makes me really happy. It reminds me of a Cadbury cream egg. Oh, I love those things. Okay. So I'm going to clean that up a little bit. And what do we have left to do? Some punches now, right? So for our two little tags, okay, our two little tags. So friends too, for tomorrow. So some of you might not have popped on here right away, right? So you might have missed the part I said at the beginning. Hover over your screen and see if the red dot is beside the live button. Because if the red dot is not beside the live, you could be watching literally 20 minutes earlier in the video. So if you ask a question and you're like, that's weird, why isn't she replying? Is because you're not synced with the live, okay? So it doesn't mean that I'm ignoring you. It just means that I answer your question, but it's like way further along in the video. So just kind of keep that in mind when you're watching, that if you are not watching live, I'm not ignoring you. It could be that your question, you're not synced with the live, that you're watching in the past. You're in the past, okay? So just kind of keep that in mind. All right, so let's start with this guy. So I need my, love this. And I need my 1-inch circle punch. So I'm going to trim this down so that I can get the reach of my punch in. So I want to make sure that I'm going to trim this, just the row that I stamped out. So I'm going to come in and trim that right beside those circles. So for this one, I might leave, I don't know, like look at a little less than 1/4 of an inch beside those ones. Like that. Just a little border, and then these ones I'm going to come pretty close up to that bottom line. Like that. Okay. I just thought it was fun. This is kind of like kind of collage. We're going to do a little bit of kind of a collage idea, right? I think that's fun. Now, did you notice though, mine goes like that on here, so I will stick with that. And I'm not going to trim anything off right now, but we can kind of decide. Now, what am I going to do? I'm going to punch the middles out of all of these with my 1-inch circle punch. Right? So you can punch right in the center. You can kind of punch off a little bit, like that's not perfect. This one I'm going to center right in the middle-ish. So what my intention when I first did this is I was going to use just the middles. And then I went, well, that's kind of fun if we use the, both. Like what I punched out of, the positive and the negative was kind of fun, right? So when I was done, I was like, that's really fun. Like that could be a decorative element that you put on pattern paper and you make something for a layout, right? You could make a shaker box out of something like that. But look at, that could be, and you could sew on it, and how pretty is that? But for this one, I went still pretty tone on tone. I'm going to lay now and glue this on. And then I can just trim the bottom of it off if I want to. Actually, it might just fit, right? You could let it hang. This is when sewing machines are your friend. I think sewing all this stuff with like a turquoise thread or whatever you have could make it really fun and just add that little bit of texture if you are so inclined to grab your sewing machine. Very fun. And I'm going to put that kind of on an angle like that, and then I can just trim the bottom off if I want later. Right? I love that. Like I said, everything doesn't have to be bold. The unexpected sometimes is just layering simple. And I love that. Like this would make a beautiful background on a layout. Just that. This texture. I love it. Love it. So all of these are going to be popped up. So grab, you know, Vicki is a lover of the enamel dot. And not enamel dot, the pop dot. Enamel dot. What are you talking about, lady? Going in my drawer of pop dots. How we doing out there? Does anybody have any questions about tomorrow in case you're tired and you're like, okay, I'm out of here, Vicki. I'll see you tomorrow. Do you have any questions? So now we're going to go in there, and then I just kind of layered them. I didn't even try to find the matching one. You could if you wanted to. If you want to match them, go in now and just try to find, right? Like, was that one from there? See, that's way too much work. I'm not doing that. You can do it if you want to. And now I am going to pop some up. Right, so one I popped right off of there, like that. Oops, I thought I took the backing off, but I did not. My new fingernails. They're fun to have, but aren't super easy for removing the things. There we go. I'm going to pop that one there. Yes, Kristen, right? How many pieces have you thrown out that could be art? That is like literally true facts. True facts. I'll put that one there, just kind of offset. So our love this, I double pop dotted it and added it later. So I think it's going to go around there. It goes off the side of the card. So just kind of lay them down there wherever it makes you happy. Or a little bubble gum. Right? Or basketballs. Like what could these be? They look kind of like basketballs. Question. For the fussy cutting, are the hearts and flowers cut from open stock, or I don't remember. It is on the cutting diagram. You need to look at that because I don't remember. But look at this. Maybe I can help you because guess what I haven't done? I'm a liar because they're right here. I haven't done mine for here. The hearts are out of the paper pad. The flowers are open stock. So Elizabeth, I actually could answer that question. I actually looked smart. So I'm going to overlap these a little bit like that. Oh, that's so nice when I actually have the answers. Beach balls. I love that question. Did you glue down the scrap piece that you're... Yes, it's glued down. Yeah, I did that. And then this one's going to go off a little bit. The other thing is, right, I can cover up my extra ink. So I just did that. And then love this. We could double pop, right? but I have different pop dots that are a little thinner, I think. So I could double it or not, whatever you want to do. You guys know if you've been hanging out with me for a while too, because some of you will be like, you know, some are very practical crafters. Like there's got to be a purpose for everything. Crafting, I don't know, for me is totally a hobby, pastime, passion. So I'll make anything, I'll try anything. I don't really have any limitations on what I will do creatively. For me, what fills up my cup is the process of making. So I don't have to make with a purpose. I can make purely for the pleasure of it. I could throw this in the garbage right now and I wouldn't even care. I wouldn't even care because for me, the golden nugget, the awesome part of it was the process of making. For some people, right, it's they approach, I have to finish my layouts. I have to do everything in a double. I have to complete the album for my vacation, my kids' school years, whatever. There's no right or wrong with any of that. What I like to give you is the total freedom to decide that whatever you do for your pastime and your craft is totally okay. So your best friend might be at a crop sitting beside you and she or he only likes to do double page layouts, but you're like, I decided I only want to do 6x8 albums. That is perfect. And that's what's kind of awesome about all of this is I give you tips for how to use these things and maybe look outside the box, and then you can use it on anything that you want, right? There are no rules. Really, like that is one of those things, like I just told you, I would make you try the things. That's the other thing that I would break you of is believing it can only be one way. It can be any way that you want. There's no boss of you. Like how I told you, just do what I tell you. That's the one thing. You never have to do what I tell you. The only thing I'd ever pressure you into is trying it before you can say you don't like it. Because that would be my thing. I'd be like, how do you know you don't like mixed media if you've never done it before? You have to try it. You have to try it now, then I'll be happy. So the same thing comes with this is like some of you I know are out there and tell me, put your hand up. If you're looking at this and going, I'm not making that tag. What am I going to do with that? What am I going to do with that tag? It's not a card. What would I ever use it for? But if you look beyond this could go in your technique drawer where you're like, okay, Vicki just showed me this little thing. There's no reason I couldn't put this on my double page layouts. Why couldn't this run right down the side of a layout? And I know for some of you, it's hard to see beyond that. So that is what hopefully hanging out with me and doing this stuff and trying the mixed media is it will open your eyes up to so many possibilities. And guess what? Stretching your stash. So you don't have to go out and buy 20 million new things. You could go, oh my goodness, I love this. And I have 4 other stamp sets that look similar to this or that could layer and work with this. So that was a soapbox moment, right? Lemons, I love that. And a pitcher of lemonade. So now, Trina, you in your notebook should say, when I'm using Vicki's Love This stamp, I could totally make these, change the color of the center and make them, let me show you, on a scrap. I love that. I must have a scrap around here. Let's look. So we totally could make these oranges, or we could make them lemons. I love it. So what is Vicki trying to do? I just totally lost track of what I was trying to do. So look it, I love that. So I ink it in the middle with yellow, and then we grab something that's just slightly darker or lighter. I'm going to go in on top of it. Let's see if this will work. With fossilized amber distress ink, not oxide. Let's see if it'll work. to blah. And then you wouldn't use abandoned coral, but maybe if it was, what are those oranges? Or look at. And then you could make like little lemons or whatever. I love that idea. I love that so much. That's why there are no rules. And if you don't play with your stuff, how are you going to come up with any of this stuff? You would never have even thought about that if you didn't pull the stuff out and play with it. So look. Look. I love that idea now. Blood oranges, yes. Love it. Freaking amazing. Love it. Right? So what are we talking about? Change the color, and they could be any citrus fruit. Limes. Lemons and limes. I love it so much. So look at that. I would never have made this before I started following you. Now I try everything. I may not love everything, but I always try it. And here's the other thing, Carissa. You might not love it, but as you're playing, you might have like, ooh, I don't like this application, but what if I did this? And it can be magic. It can be magic. I'm telling you, the longer you hang out with me, I will talk you into doing all the things. Because I just feel like you're missing out if you don't. You got to do it. You got to try it. It's so much fun. That's why, you know, I want this to be the year of mixed media. That we don't have to scrapbook. We don't have to put one photo on it to make it fun. Right? And then anything that we learn, you could totally turn it into any photo-based art as well. So I love that. Okay. So guess what we have left? I'm trying to drink out of this, but that's where the opening is. Here we go. Here we go. So I like basic shapes. Basic shapes can be turned into anything, right? So why can't we make flowers, right? So I took these little guys that we made the little sunbeam blossoms out of. Where did Vicky put those? Foam dot she just took up. There. What flavor is mixed media Kool-Aid? Any flavor you want it to be, right? What flavor would my mixed media Kool-Aid be? I love cherry Kool-Aid. Like, did you guys? Oh, you know. Here's the other weird thing about Vicky. I love peach jello. I could drink the liquid peach jello before it's made into peach or made into jello. I love peach jello. I would drink peach jello. I went out with my friends the other night and we did sign painting, and my friend Brenda brought a whole tray of jello shots, and they were, what is better than that to me? But here's something she did. So if you are a non-drinker, you could make jello shots with no booze in them, and they're just a little fun treat. But she put buttercream icing on top of it. All of us thought it was whipped cream because she used like a piping bag. And I have to tell you, what a game changer. That was the best surprise I ever had, is that it wasn't whipped cream. It was buttercream icing on top of the jello shot. I love it. Sangria. I love that too. You're drinking it. I love it, Kristen. Okay, question. Where does the green stem come from? I haven't said it yet, Samantha, but I'm going to tell you where it comes from. When you're done later, this is scrap. So what I'm going to recommend is either use your scraps or wait and finish these cards, tags later, because you don't know exactly yet, right? I don't think we cut this paper, but that's where I got it from. So we're going to lay these on here, and this is going to make another amazing layout. I'm telling you, we're going to use all the techniques from today in some way, shape, or form to create that layout. So let me show you my trick, okay? So one of the things I love is that you can make your own leaves with a circle punch. So when you punch a circle, you take it and then you feed it back in and you can make leaves, right? Or eyeballs. So you just put that in. And then you can make different sizes of leaves by how much you put in there. And that's how I got the leaves for, oops, my flowers. There we go. So I punched 2 of them out, and that's how I got the leaves for my flowers, okay? And then you just take them. I always give them a little curly. And then I cut some little strips off of the paper, about a 1/4 inch, and that's how this card is made. And then I just put the little clip on there that says grateful for the people who make us happy. And then I thought on a card, right, if we put this on a card, we could totally then put you. I thought on here I would love in a big scripty like you. Grateful for the people who make us happy, and then you, or that's you. And how fun would that be on a card or on a layout? Because these totally could go on one of our layouts, right? I'm just going to grab my hearts that I have to cut out. Something like this could totally go, look at, on the bottom of your page. How fun is that? So maybe you have like some little strips of pattern paper, you put that on there. You could totally cut it into a tag shape, right? We could cut that into a tag shape, and then that could go on there, and then you could put in your title, right? That's you, or you make me happy, or whatever. So these don't have to be used just as a tag. It's to give us something else to do on our Friday night as we get ready for our print shop full-on album class tomorrow. I'm going to tell you now, it's 8:45 my time. I'm going to stay up I'll be in bed for sure by 11 when we're done here tonight. And turn the camera around and look at you, okay? Hi, Rich Booten. How are you? He's come check on us. He just peeked his head around. Okay, I'm going to flip the camera and look at you for a minute. So, oops, sorry. So that's pretty much it for tonight. Gives you something to think about, right? Gives you something to think about. So I'm going to stay up and I'm going to finish start another audiobook because I finished one doing all the things. And I'm going to do some of my fussy cutting, and I'm going to clean my area up, and I'm going to prep some snacks for tomorrow. Tomorrow's a big day. It's a big day. There's no other way to put it. It is the kind when I'm done, I'm exhausted, but in the most blissful way. Like I just feel like we will accomplish so much tomorrow. I wasn't lying when I say print shop. Is this whole thing is one of my favorite ever collections. I'm going to be talking about why I choose to do the things, so you will get lots of kind of design, inspiration, education, just ideas to use. Go to bed early. Get your rest. Get your coffee. Put your most comfy outfit on. Whatever makes you happy, brings you joy. Tomorrow, new trimmer blade. Just be ready. It's going to be good. Question. What books are you reading on audio? I'm on Audible, and I download the free ones. And then I did download Atomic Habits. I haven't started that yet. I downloaded, you'll laugh, The Color Purple was on sale. That has to be one of the best audiobooks I have ever listened to. What's the one? There's an octopus on the front of it. Something Creatures. That was good. I enjoyed that. But I've been listening to Joy Ellis is the author's name, and the narrator is English, and they're detective ones. So it's like, I love mysteries. I love that kind of stuff. But right. Banana and Little Debbie Valentine's cakes. I love it. Okay, tell me, that's a fun thing. What's your snack for tomorrow? Did you guys get a snack for tomorrow? Not League of 2000. It's something Beautiful Creatures or something. You'll have to look it up. And there's an octopus on the front of it. And I thoroughly enjoyed that. The Whatever Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Freaking love that book. And now I'm going to read the next one, her next one. I don't know. You know, and I really find too with books, right? It's such a personal thing. Listening to The Golden Couple, so highly recommended. I'll have to read it. And if you haven't seen it yet, have you guys gone to see whatever, the one that's out right now with Tom Hanks? Something Otto? I read the book, right? Bachman or whatever that author is. That movie was so freaking good. Mom, let's do that next week. I'm going to take my mom to the movie. So Valentine's M&Ms and celery sticks. I love it. Popcorn and sweet potato chips with Greek yogurt. I'm coming to all you guys' houses. You got some like good snacks going on, right? A Man Called Otto. Has anybody else seen it out there yet? I want to know if anybody has seen that. Oh my goodness. Did anybody ugly cry, but in a good way? That movie, he was freaking awesome in that movie. I've read the book, but it was so good. I'm going to see it again. You've got lolly snakes. I love that. Julia's from Australia, aren't you? Because that was when I was in like New Zealand too. Lollies are candies, right? Not yet been fussy cutting yet. So snacks, get snacks ready. Have a couple beverages ready. We'll take breaks. It's going to be good. Don't be freaked out. If you're new here, don't be. It's good. A lot of people keep coming back because they enjoy the classes. So really, just be ready for lots of fun. It's going to be so good. I've been waiting for this weekend for so long, just to kind of give you guys, if you're done, you can head out. I'm just going to talk for one more minute. I love how this class, start to finish, went with doing the prep, doing the meet and greet, doing some pre-cutting, shared links. I have to figure out, though, there's something weird going on with Dropbox. Some of you guys all got the links, no problem. A whole bunch were asking to be joined to the folder. I don't know why that's happening. It's never happened before. I need to figure that out. But I spent a lot of extra time editing the photos so the images are smaller on the instructions. And then I was able to totally upload it as a file to the Facebook group. So I love that now it's all in one place. So the files are in the Facebook group, and I feel like that was super helpful. So the next one, when we do, the new collection is called Where to Next, which is kind of fitting. That'll be our thing at the end of this, Where to Next. It's to Where to Next. And so be watching for that, because when the kits are gone, they're gone, just like here with Print Shop. And like I said, I'm aiming for that one to be at the end of May or early July or early June. If you're on vacation, you can't do it. If you can't make it, look, it's all recorded. You can do it whenever you want to. But thank you for tonight. I hope you enjoyed that. I think it was a great segue into tomorrow, and we're gonna have so much fun. So if you didn't see, I gave you a peek. Should I peek you the other favorite paper? I'm going to peek you the other favorite paper for my new collection that's coming out. And I hope that you understand why I love this one so very, very much. And I would have a version of this paper in every single collection. Okay, I'm going to bend down and I'm going to grab it. I'm bending down and I'm grabbing it. I have to grab the whole tray out. So the whole tray is right here, but you can't see the whole tray. I've got to build the excitement. So because you guys are here with me, I feel like it's okay for me to share with you. So, there's some good ones in here, and I love that the pattern play is almost like layered, like polka dots, like in the background. Are you ready? Are you ready for this one? So will you understand why I love this? I love this paper so much, I cannot even contain it. So when we do the walkthrough, just make sure that you save your oohs and ahs. Even though you guys all got a peek, save your oohs and ahs. Like, I really want you, this is the one I showed earlier, and I need you to, again, understand how freaking awesome. That is not, it's flat. An airplane. So just make sure you still give me the proper amount, the back of that paper. Oh my gosh. I'm just telling you. Just make sure that you save still the oohs and ahs. The oohs and ahs, right? Because it's going to be good. I think you're really going to enjoy this. And the color palette is totally will work. So go out. I am putting a new order in for some print shop stuff. There are certain papers that are completely sold out. All of the sheets are gone. The hearts, the stars, all gone. But I'm going to order some other papers. And so if you are going to Natalie's event in Adelaide, just be prepared for it. I'm going to mix a whole bunch of collections for that one. So it's going to be something really awesome, and I think do some exclusive stuff. So I can't wait. I can't wait to share it. I can't wait. So it's going to be very good. I think you're going to enjoy it. Keep in mind, it's a travel line, but because I use the same collection for 6 months, it's not just travel. Like, there's flowers and other things in here so that we could use it for every day in summer. So I love that. I love it. I can't wait to share it all with you, right? And I can't wait for tomorrow. So I'm signing off now. I'm going to do some of my fussy cutting, and I'm going to listen to a new audiobook, and I will be with you tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern time, and it's going to be really good. So make sure you have some breakfast, have your coffee or tea ready, and I'll see you tomorrow, guys. If you're watching after the fact, I'm glad that you were able to join us as well, and have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye, friends, and thanks, Natalie, for answering the questions as well. We'll see you later. Bye, guys.